Some casting choices feel so perfect that it's impossible to imagine anyone else in that role. But what if Iron Man wasn't Robert Downey Jr.? Or if Katniss Everdeen wasn't Jennifer Lawrence? Today we're playing a game. I'll give you a famous role and 3 actors, but only one actually auditioned for the part. Can you guess who it was? Well, let's find out. First, let's look at Iron Man from 2008. One of these actors was almost Iron Man, but who? Do you know? The answer is Tom Cruise. Believe it or not, Tom Cruise was Marvel's top pick for Iron Man in the early 2000s, but he reportedly wanted more creative control and a massive paycheck, which Marvel couldn't afford at the time. Instead, they went with Robert Downey Jr., who completely redefined the role and launched the MCU. Can you imagine an Iron Man movie where Tony Stark does his own Mission Impossible stunts? Next, let's talk about The Hunger Games from 2012. Before Jennifer Lawrence took on the role, one of these actresses was considered, but who was it? The answer is Shailene Woodley. Shailene Woodley was a serious contender for Katniss and even auditioned before landing her own young adult franchise in Divergent. Emma Watson and Kristen Stewart were never really in the mix. But let's be real. After Twilight, casting Kristen Stewart would have been a little bit crazy. Next is Thor from 2011. Chris Hemsworth wasn't the only one fighting for Mjolnir. Which actor actually auditioned? The answer is Alexander Skarsgård. The True Blood star was one of Marvel's final choices for Thor, and even got far enough to do a screen test. However, Chris Hemsworth's second audition after being rejected the first time sealed the deal. Can you imagine Skarsgård as Thor? He might have brought a little Viking energy from the Northmen. Now let's talk about The Dark Knight from 2008 and the Joker. Before Heath Ledger's legendary performance, one of these actors was seriously considered. The answer is Adrien Brody. Christopher Nolan considered Brody before ultimately casting Ledger, who gave one of the most iconic performances in film history. DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis were not even close. Brody later said he was interested in playing the Joker, but never got the call. Next, let's talk about Black Panther from 2018. Chadwick Boseman became a legend, but which actor auditioned for T'Challa? The answer is Aldous Hodge. Before he starred in Black Adam, Aldous Hodge was in the running for T'Challa. Michael B. Jordan, he auditioned, but he auditioned for Killmonger. As for John Boyega, he was never in consideration, though fans have dreamed of seeing him in the MCU. Would Hodge have been a great Black Panther? Probably, but Boseman's performance was untouchable. Now let's talk about Wonder Woman from 2017. One of these actresses was almost Diana Prince. Who was it? The answer is Jaimie Alexander. Best known as Lady Sif from Thor, Jaimie Alexander was heavily considered for Wonder Woman, but had to turn it down due to her own Marvel commitments. Emily Blunt was offered Black Widow, but never auditioned for Wonder Woman. And Margot Robbie? She was too busy owning Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. Next, let's talk about Captain America, the first Avenger from 2011. Before Chris Evans suited up, one of these actors was considered. The answer is John Krasinski. He got as far as a costume fitting before deciding he wasn't right for the role. Ryan Gosling and Channing Tatum never came close. Can you imagine The Office's Jim Halpert as Steve Rogers? Last, let's talk about No Time to Die from 2021. Before Daniel Craig's final Bond film, one of these actors was rumored to replace him. Which one? The answer is Tom Hardy. While Idris Elba was a fan favorite pick, Hardy was actually on the shortlist to take over as Bond. Meanwhile, Cillian Murphy was a Nolan favorite, but was never in serious contention. Hardy as Bond would have been a very different take. So how many guesses did you get correct? Which of these alternate casting choices would have actually worked, and which ones would have been a total disaster? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. We'll see you next time.